Today we are looking at a brand new light wind kite model from the company Reedin, the Whisper model, which as you can see is extremely lightweight. The Whisper model is a 3-strut kite, has a leading edge with a rather C-shaped curvature, and the overall outline is somewhat elongated.
The leading edge is supported by a 7-point bridle system without pulleys. The steering lines are connected directly to the tip, and we have two different options for adjusting bar pressure and turning speed on the kite.
The leading edge material is a high-strength Dacron reinforced with rectangular polyester threads. The connection of the individual segments of the leading edge is called pro-weld technology here, which means that the segments are welded together rather than sewn.
A high-strength material is used for the canopy here, which is also coated with a very tough finish. The entire system is inflated and deflated using a very large inlet and outlet valve. Some of you might still remember it. It used to be used by Liquid Force, and the one-pump system is very straightforward and compact. Line deflectors are only present at the end of the leading edge. The two outer cross struts and the middle strut do not have any line deflectors. These struts are attached to the canopy with a single seam each and are reinforced and glued from the inside. In the area of the trailing edge, an even higher strength fabric is used, and additionally, both sides are equipped with 3 very delicately crafted plastic battens each to prevent any fluttering at all. Weight optimization is the key word here. Even all areas where there could be chafing or impact are only reinforced with fabric strips. And of course, the transition from the front tube to the canopy is also adorned with a narrow fabric reinforcement. To truly document the performance of this kite and show how it actually behaves, we need to let the whole thing run a bit longer here. The spot is the Müritz, and we have 3 to 4 knots of wind, with the occasional gust reaching 6, at most 7 knots. From this wind range, the Whisper model can be effortlessly launched from standing depth water by simply pulling and holding one steering line. The board is a light wind board measuring 1.54 m by 46.5, and the rider here weighs 90 kilograms. From 6 knots onwards, riding is completely unproblematic here, and maintaining upwind is also no issue. By using a foil, this wind range can be lowered by another 1 to 2 knots. And these are wind ranges that up until now have definitely only been achieved by foil kites. To really document the whole thing precisely once again, because we could hardly believe it ourselves, you can see in the following sequence that when the kite is set down in the middle of the wind or even left unsecured for a while, it isn't touched at all, since the wind doesn't affect it in any way because there is simply no wind. But let's move on to absolutely normal light wind conditions. From 8 knots and with a body weight of 75 kilos, you can use a completely normal board here, the same kind you would use with smaller kites like 12, 10 or 9 square meters. And even then, you already get the full performance here without needing to fly the kite in a sine wave pattern.
The flight stability, if we apply our usual procedures, is simply enormous.
Even at 3 to 4 knots, the kite stays above you in the sky, and you can walk toward it without it acting up in any way or showing any tendency to suddenly drift right or left, or to experience a front stall or back stall. So the flight stability is simply phenomenal. Since the kite is positioned a bit lower in the wind window, its upwind performance here is good. This low positioning naturally also ensures this incredibly high flight stability so that the wind window simply doesn't become too large.
Nevertheless, even for everyone, including beginners, riding upwind easily is absolutely no problem. The bar feeling is precise and comfortable, so it's also not super hard, even though we don't have any pulleys in it, but we had 15 square meters here in the test. Of course, that never feels quite as direct as if we were testing 9 or 12 square meters for comparison.
Compared to other large light wind kites, the Whisper model is very responsive and precise, and thanks to its homogeneity, that is, the consistency in its positioning, the sense of where the kite is in the wind window is very clear. The basic pull of the Whisper model is very strong, but at the same time completely unobtrusive, because the energy is always converted into forward drive and not into lateral forces. And this also applies when the line tension is very low. We have never experienced this combination together with flight stability in this way before. The power delivery is overall strong and absolutely consistent. So you look in vain for any progression in the power delivery here. The flight profile of the Whisper model is always smooth and responsive. All of this is accompanied by a moderate flight speed and medium turning radii. What is also particularly noteworthy is that the kite remains highly responsive in every situation, no matter where it is positioned in the wind window. Despite the kite sitting a bit deeper in the wind window, the depower capability is efficient, and even in the upper wind range you can maintain long-lasting control by pushing the bar away. It's almost curious how easy it is to jump with the Whisper model. Although the kite sits a bit deeper in the wind window, it can still be steered quickly and precisely straight upwards, which then results in a powerful and long-lasting lift. When it comes to hang time, there is a slight loss because we simply don't have such a pronounced spread of the kite. Instead, we have a somewhat rounder C shape. The kite already provides excellent lift on its own, thanks to its size, extremely lightweight, and good flight speed, even when compared to other light wind kites in this category. However, in terms of hang time, a foil kite in this comparison, something like a Flysurfer Soul, in 15 square meters would still have an advantage if some riders don't yet have such advanced riding skills and can't edge precisely, but instead prefer to use the sheet and go technique, that is simply pulling in the bar and gently lifting the board off the water to attempt their jumps. This kite still delivers good performance because it also handles the sheet and go approach well. In conclusion, it can be said that the Whisper model truly sets new standards when it comes to light wind, free ride and all-round performance.
Of course, this is now a combination between the designer Damien from the company Reedin and Ralph Grösel from Brainchild. And he has already built outstanding light wind kites for duotone.
Just take, for example, the Juice D-Lab, which also flew very efficiently in extremely light wind and generated a lot of forward drive and performance. Especially when going upwind, this kite was even a bit stronger than the Whisper model, but in terms of flight stability, uniformity, ease of handling, And especially when it comes to the absolute lowest wind limit, the Whisper model is now simply number one. There's no other way to put it. Especially when it comes to the absolute lowest wind limit, based on our many years of testing experience, we would say that the only model we've ever had in a test that could hold height with a twin tip in such light wind was the Flysurfer Speed 21 foil kite.
If you put that into perspective, it's honestly almost unbelievable, because the handling advantage of a 15 square meter Whisper model compared to a 21 square meter speed foil kite is just a world of difference between them.
And just as a side note, the whole thing is not produced with a 60 centimeter long bar, but rather with a normal standard bar that's 49 centimeters wide. This absolutely delightful experience of being able to go out on the water with the Whisper model unfortunately does come at a price. The whole package comes in at 2,799 euros for the 15 square meter version, but in return it guarantees 100% fun in light wind conditions for everyone from absolute beginners to seasoned pros.